Welcome, everybody. So good to see you. This is a hugely surreal moment for me because not only my class 10 economics, class 11 economics, class 12 economics teacher, my swimming master in charge, who made me swimming captain and made me who I am, honestly, today, is right here. So, sir, it is literally to be on the other side of the table. It's surreal for me. But I really appreciate you taking time out and coming, and of course, everybody else as well. I went to the Doon School. I was very, very fortunate. And interestingly, in Doon School, there is a lot more that happens outside the classroom than what happens inside the classroom. Inside the class, we spent, 4 hours, 5 hours a day? But outside the class, we would have maybe 4 hours of sports, 4 hours of senior-junior dynamics, another 4 hours of just life that used to happen at night, right? And so I always thought that I learned more outside the classroom than inside the classroom. And that's essentially what Masters Union is all about. Here, as compared to other universities, we hardly have exams and lectures and slides and grades and attendance and books. In every semester here, as you would have known, students have to build a business. Their grades actually come from the revenues, the margins, the profits, the ROAS, the NPS, the real metrics that their businesses do. That's what they're graded on at the end of the day. And you would have met some of the students. And that's a quick intro on Masters Union. I won't talk too much about it. But there are 2 or 3 things that I thought I'll share quickly. One is that last year, in fact early this year, there was a 20-year research study that got completed at University of Pennsylvania, where I was again very fortunate to go to. It's a 20-year study. And over 20 years, what they have done is they've taken the incoming SAT score of all of their students. They've taken the GPA of the students through the 4 years, and they have tried to correlate it with the success metrics 20 years down their lives, right? And that those success metrics could be their position, their salary, their net worth, their happiness. They take a bunch of these surveys from us every year, right? So my question to you is, do you think that there was any correlation between incoming SAT score and their salary 20 years down their lives? No? Could be? No? So there was no correlation. Anybody else? So you're saying there should be a correlation? Okay. Not a direct correlation, but somewhat of a correlation. Okay. Some correlation? Assume the data is correct. For a second, let's assume the data is correct because they ask us for our salary slips. They ask us a lot of questions. And they pay us money to participate in the thing. So I'm guessing it's all, taken care of. I think it is. It's done by Adam Grant. And I'm sure many of you would have read Adam Grant's books. Give and Take, the originals, many other books. So let's assume for a second it's true. What do you think? Anybody else? Yes? So correlated. So you're saying that higher the SAT score, higher the salary. The other way around. Inverse relation? Okay. So let me ask. How many of you think there's a direct relation? So more the SAT score, more the salary. Nobody? You know because it's a trick question I'm asking. Otherwise, I thought it would be the direct correlation because I remember my friends who were very successful coming in, doing really well right out of college, right? So I thought that there would be a direct correlation. Fair, absolutely. So there is elasticity of mind, absolutely. So I'll give you the actual answer. The actual answer is very interesting. In the short term, in the 5-year term, the students who had great scores do much better than the students who had worse scores. But as you go beyond 10 years, it becomes inverse. Right? And it's a statistically significant data. So what that means is that there is actual correlation. It's not just random data. Right? It's almost a 5% confidence interval, so it's actually quite high.
All our backbenchers have done well.
By the way, I got a 5 in my economics HL, which in IB. I know, right? So I think the short term we don't do as well, but in the long term things are getting better. And this made me question the entire point of grades, the entire point of SAT scores, the entire point of GPAs, and everything in between, right? I don't have an answer to what is the right way to judge a student. I still don't have that answer, and neither do any of us. But I think today we have to start thinking about whatever that alternative is going to look like 5 years down the line. We have AI now, we have psychometric tests, we have so many other things. And I think there has to be a better benchmark to judge students beyond a 7 in HL chemistry or an SAT score out of 1600. These scores were built 40, 50, 60 years ago for a world that does not exist anymore. Again, I do not have the solution, but I just wanted to present this statement to you. The actual research will be released this year in December. Okay, it's undergoing peer reviews, etc. right now. I got to see the manuscript because I had participated in it. And the curve goes one way for 5 years and a complete opposite the next. It's going to make a lot of noise when this paper comes out. Right? The second thing I wanted to speak about is something that someone told me recently, that back in the day when you have World War I, World War II, it was the people who really had a lot of strength, like muscular strength, who would do the best. Right? They were the ones who were most valued in the society. Up till 50s, 60s, you wanted to be tall, you wanted to be bulky, you were warriors, you were going out into the oceans, right? And so, but as the knowledge economy started to come in 60s, 70s, 80s, it was people who had the highest mental strength, right? Who could spend time working, who had elasticity of mind, who can actually think, who can do mathematical calculations, who were good at science, scientists, etc., right? And that was because the strength, because of machines, became commoditized. Right? That's essentially what happened. Now, with AI, and I know you must have already spoken about AI, even the mental strength, right? My analytical strength, right? It's becoming commoditized. I don't know if it's happening in your world, but it's definitely happening in my world. I'll give you a metric again from University of Pennsylvania. So there were 300 students in the engineering school at Penn. And Penn Engineering is top 5, computer science. Top 5, right? It's MIT, Stanford, Penn, it's Berkeley, etc., right? And what happened this year, for the last 5 years, we had the FANG companies, we had Meta, we had Google, we had Amazon, we had all of these 5 companies come and take 60 students. It's been happening since I was in college. Mera nahi hua tha, par baaki sabka ho gaya tha. Right? This year, guess how many students got picked up by these 5 companies? Just throw a number. Earlier, it was 300 out of 300. How many got picked up this year? 20? 15? 7. 7. Right? Facebook took 3. I think Google took 1, and the rest took 1. That's it. And that also just to maintain the relationship with the school. Right? So the demand of engineers. And computer science was supposed to be the most safe. Computer science was supposed to be the most awarded. Right? The rank 1 students going to computer science and all of that. It completely does not hold true anymore. And they're saying because we only need 1 engineer, earlier we needed 60. Right? And so definitely in the future, now we are coming with a third wave. What kind of skills is the world going to value? And that's what, at least in our academic councils, we are thinking about every day, that it's not the muscular strength, right? It's not really the analytical strength either. And so we have come up with something interesting, which is called GSD, just getting shit done. I don't know if that makes sense to you. But getting shit done is also a skill. Even if you have to use AI for it, right? So just get stuff done. Stuff done, not shit done, sorry. If it's students, it's shit done. In this room, I should have said Sorry?
It's actually a cloud skill.
It's a cloud skill? There you go. So, and so how do we start training students in getting shit done? Right? So if we get one day to set up a stall, we just told them yesterday, guys, ye karna hai, can they get it done? If you tell them they have to go to Dehradun and they have to pitch Masters Union to a school, can they get it done? Right? Or do they, in the entire ambiguity of it, get sucked into this rabbit hole, ye kaise hoga? Right? And this brings me to my third story, which is also very interesting. So back in the day when there were kings and queens, right, Maharajas and Maharanis, etc., so they were very scared that their daughters and their sons, especially their sons who will become princes, who later on to become generals and kings, they were very spoilt. Right? They were spoilt because they used to wake up at 6 a.m. and they used to live a very predictable life. Right? So in the morning, they will have their massage, then they'll have their tutoring, then they'll have their, sword fighting sessions, then they'll have this and that. And there was no surprise in their life. They never had to deal with ambiguity in absolutely any way, right? And so the kings were like, what do we do? So they would go to these teachers, the Dronacharyas of the world, and they came up with this actual syllabus. So if you go back to the scriptures, you'll actually see the syllabus, where in the first 6 months of Gurukul, they would have to live in the forest, supervised, but alone. So there is someone watching over them, so they'll not get eaten, but they have to survive on their own. And so now when they have to survive on their own, they don't know whether the berries that they're going to eat are poisonous or not. They don't know under which tree they can sleep, because some trees are not safe to sleep under. They don't know tomorrow is going to be rain or shine. They don't know how to build a house. And they have to figure stuff out. Right? So getting shit done and figuring stuff out, I think, are the two skills. So eventually tomorrow, when they'll become generals and when they have to go for a conquest, and they're not going to know whether it's going to be a river the next day, whether it's going to be a mountain the next day, the 6 months of this rigorous training in the forest would really attune their mind to unpredictability, to ambiguity, right? And honestly, I also don't know, and the students don't know, and I'm sure even you don't know, in the next 4 years, what's going to happen in this world. The way things are changing every 2 weeks, we have no idea what's going to happen in 4 years, right? And so the best thing that we can do as academics, what we have learned at least, is just prepare students to deal with ambiguity and uncertainty and make them confident that no matter what the world throws at them, they will figure stuff out, right? And they will get shit done. And that's a whole skill altogether, and we can talk about how we teach that, etc. Finally, I'll just say one last thing. In the 30s and 40s, 1930s, 1940s, we had Einstein, right? And at that time, we used to value the physics, how electrons move from one place to the other, double slit experiment, all of these things, right? In the 40s and 50s, people started taking the physics for granted, and they started talking about electrical engineering. So how can you now use moving electrons to actually transmit energy, right? And how to have light, photons, etc. In the 50s and 60s, the electrical engineering, once the grids got made, that started being taken for granted. My granddad, my Nana, was actually the chief electricity officer of Punjab State Electricity Board. That title does not exist anymore. He was a CEO, interestingly. Right? And many companies would have CEOs because electricity was not commoditized yet. In the 60s and 70s, it became all about circuits, right, and electronics. So nobody cared about how a TV is getting powered. Nobody cared about the electrical engineering of it. They all cared about the electronics of it, right? How the moving electrons are now being used to transmit information, right? And then came the age of software. And people stopped caring about the circuits. Do we care about how circuits work? We only care about how C++, Java, whatever works, right? And that lasted until 4 years ago. And now, nobody's caring about the programming languages anymore. It's all NLP. It's all how you speak. It's all vibe coding now. And so now we have gone one level of abstraction further above. AI. And much better. Much better. Yesterday, I don't know if you saw that robot, completely driven by its autonomous engine, did a full heart को क्या कहते हैं जो heart में होता है? Angiography. Sorry, I forgot. Right? Angiography for the first time. Never happened before. They have done knee replacements. This is the first time an angiography was done. Right? And angiography has like this grade of like how still the hand was, and the hand was like fully still. And so we have reached that stage where even MBBS and doctors and MD doctors may come into question. So then what is the world after? What level of abstraction are we talking next? Right? And the best answer that I could come up with, as I said, is getting shit done and figuring stuff out. Right? So on that note, I know I'm leaving you more confused, but I think that was the entire point of Intersect. None of us have the answers. I think it's best to know that we don't know everything and then be on the search of the answers. But thank you so much again for coming. I hope these stories were interesting to you. When I heard these stories, I really wanted to share them with the world. And thank you again, sir, for making me who I am. Really appreciate everything that you've done. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.